Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Latinaly. The one thing about starting something new is that it's going to come with a lot of learning curves and challenges. And when I tell you that setting up for today, I wanted to rip my fucking hair out. Doing everything myself is absolutely wonderful, and I'm learning so much. But when I tell you that it comes with internal crash outs, like a lot, because I am a complete perfectionist when it comes to my work, and I just want it to look the best and be the best. I saw a video that there are 5 million podcasts, and I was talking to my girlfriend about this, another girlfriend of mine from work, and she just launched her show, Creatives in Their Pivot Season. I'll tag her show in my description and in the comments. Her first episode just came out, and when I had posted that I was in the studio and I was recording, she messaged me and she was just like, "You're doing everything yourself too?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "How are you doing it?" And I was like, I don't know. I'm literally building the plane as I'm flying it. And then she posted her first episode and it looked cinema quality. And I was like, that looks gorgeous. So then I was like, that's exactly what I want mine to look like. I want it to look absolutely beautiful. So there are going to be episodes where you see the background and things change here and there. Let's not worry about it. Let's just roll with it. It's going to be so fun. And that's what happens when you decide that you need something new in your life. You just end up indulging in things that you never have before. And the gag is, this is not my first time doing a podcast. This is my first time doing it with the amount of effort that I'm doing it with. Because before, I just said on my phone, no color correction, no lighting, no nothing. And I'm like, no. In a sea full of podcasts, I'm like, we need to stand out a little bit. We need to be that girl. You know what I'm saying? I am building the plane as I'm flying it. So it's difficult, but it's fun and it's exciting because of all the stuff that I'm learning. And not for nothing too, like all the tech stuff. It took me a fucking hour to get set up today. Mind you, I set up yesterday. Okay. It's funny, like before I used to just say like, oh, no one's going to notice that. And I'm like, bitch, if you noticed it, someone's going to notice it. So it's just about being very intentional with what I'm doing. So let's get into it because I'm very excited for today's topic. I see a lot on social media. Girl, we see everything on social media. And one of the things that I see very often is this idea of a rebrand and a reinvention. And it's like, this rebrand is personal and da-da-da. I myself am going through one. There's always the initiation of the thought of a rebrand, like in captions or like in reels. I don't think I've ever really seen, what does that mean? How do we do that? And like new habits and like changing how you eat and like changing how you view that. Bitch, how do you do that? So I haven't really found the context and I haven't really found the descriptive how to. So that's what we're doing today. We are talking about how to have the ultimate life rebrand. I go through one, I think like every 6 months. That's probably because I'm like neurotic and I'm just like, I just need newness in my life. Because for me, the reason that I do it so often is because it could be a little bit of high functioning depression, but things tend to stop serving me very quickly after I discover them. And I've gotten into a better habit of realizing what I do and do not need in my life. And when you start to have a lot of things in your life that you realize are not serving you, it really makes you feel out of sync. And that's when it's time to rebrand our life. Sometimes we're in a dark period and the rebrand is coming into the light. Sometimes we are already in the light and we just want to refine it and we want to curate it a little bit better or a little more. Maybe it's that we found the betterness and the light internally within ourselves and our healing. And now we just want to extend how we feel on the inside to our environment on the outside. And that's not physical. That's in every aspect of our lives. So we're talking slow mornings, curated spaces, very indulgent self-care, nervous system friendly rituals, and boundaries that actually protect our peace instead of overwhelming it. And really talking about designing a life that reflects you and who you are, your values, your energy, your vibe, your joy inside and out. Designing a life where your days feel a little calmer, your mind feels clearer, and your energy is actually yours and you know where to place it. This is about clarity, confidence, and creating momentum in our life that actually sticks. So the first piece of this is going to be a little bit of inner work, planning, brainstorming. Now, one of my vices is stationery. I am a whore for good stationery, a gorgeous journal. And so for everything in my life, my manifestation, prayer, a new project, a journal, I have like 18 different notebooks. Very excessive, but very necessary to me. I have like 8 planners. Like I have a planner that suits me for every day in my to-do list and like my appointments. And then I also have a planner that has a little bit of like manifestation in it. Like it's disgusting how many planners and things that I actually have, but I love it because it allows me to compartmentalize my life into planners. And each planner, notebook, piece of stationery has a set purpose. And I feel like when I open up that piece or when I open up that book, it just allows me to focus on one thing at a time and focus on the actual purpose that I have within that book. So you need to become your biggest passion project. And you should be the project that you are the most excited to work on. So we are going to visualize our dream life. And when we talk about visualization, I was explaining this to my girlfriend because she was like, what the does that mean? And I truly like to think about it as intentional daydreaming. And no detail is too small. No detail is too ridiculous. This is not like working on yourself. This is curating yourself. This is not like, oh, I won the lotto and I could buy a Birkin. No, we are designing our dream life, the rebrand. This is the rebrand for ourselves and what looks good for us, what works for us. You cannot look at other people and see what they're doing and be like, oh yeah, that's going to work for me. No, it's not going to work for you. Sure, you can take certain elements of other people and what they're doing and kind of maybe work it into what you're trying to do for yourself. And then maybe you'll realize, that's really not for me, but that's okay because that's where this discovery is coming from. And that's the point of it, is to discover what works and what doesn't work. A few starting points. Where do you live? What does that space look like? If you're already in your forever home or if you're already in an apartment or space that you truly, truly love, do we redesign it? What do we look like? Are we happier? Are we healthier? Did we lose weight? Did we gain weight? Did we get a tattoo? Did we get a piercing? Did we chop all our hair off? Did we dye our hair? Did we get extensions? There is no detail that is unimportant because we are curating our most magnetic self. This is our ideal self that we are envisioning. And this vision, this visualization, what we want here is we want the butterflies and the bubbles in our belly, and you're going to feel it all over your body. And as we move forward through the list that I have here, we're going to kind of find that more and more. And as I'm saying this to you, I am doing it with you. Why do we need our notebook? Our handy dandy notebook? We need the notebook because we are writing all this stuff down. We're writing down every single detail when it comes to this visualization. And it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be organized. It could be bullet points. It could be a circle graph or like a circle diagram that we put up. It could be just little scribble notes. It doesn't really matter. This is where we're getting all of our thoughts out on paper. So another thing that we're also going to write down after we write down all of the visualizations of what our dream ideal self looks like, our environment looks like. Like I said, no detail is unimportant. We're also going to create a 2-column list that also kind of ties into all the things that we just put down on paper of what our dream life looks like. And in those 2 columns, you're going to have what is working and what is not working. So what's working well? What are your strengths, your habits, relationships, routines that energize you? And in the other column, we are going to write what isn't really working. Are there patterns that are not working? Are there certain commitments that aren't really suiting us anymore? Also, we're going to put some of the environments that are really, really draining to us. And I say notebook and put everything down on paper because doing everything mentally and keeping it in is really great and it's really powerful. However, when we are actively and purposefully trying to reinvent or change or just make ourselves feel a little bit better, once it's all on paper, it's real. It is unavoidable and it's not something that you can put on the back burner anymore. And you're like, okay, no, I'm really serious about this. Sometimes putting it down on a piece of paper is all the motivation that you need for your brain to connect and say, no, this is really happening. This is real. It's kind of like when people think about a business and when they want to start a business and they have this wonderful idea. It's not real until you put it down on paper. And that is sometimes the catapulting moment that really, really starts this momentum of us cognitively saying, I want better for myself. And the next thing that we're going to do, because listen, this is a rebrand. The one thing that is very key about a rebrand is our brand voice. And that's with branding in general, because I brand businesses and small companies. Don't know if you knew that, but any freelance client that I have, I do branding. So for my career, I do digital interactive design. And for any freelance that I do, I'm a brand designer. So the one thing that is so key and so important is finding our brand voice. What does that look like? Our brand voice. It is defining this rebrand. It is defining who we are. So we're going to choose 3 words that speak to our ideal self. Now, if you kind of have it off the top of your head, cool. So we're going to pick 3 really impactful words that make our stomach flutter. Words that you want to become, and any words that really stick out to you, that give you that hopeful bubble in your belly. This is the feeling that we're searching for while we are doing this entire process. Sometimes it takes a little bit more work though. This is where we're going to dig in a little bit deeper. So we're going to take every category of our life and we're going to describe them with these brand words that we want to feel. Our career, relationships, our health, our home. And when I say brand words, it could be energetic, organic, hopeful, happy, beautiful, youthful, grown, elevated, sophisticated, adventurous. These are the adjectives that we're using to describe our ideal life. And so when we're looking at our home, our career, our relationships, our personal look, what are the words that we want to use to describe those ideal versions of those categories of our life? And if you find that there are words that are repeating themselves and you're like, oh my gosh, I used earthy for all of these, or I used poise, or you used the word glow or energetic, these repeating words, if you find that you have a couple, that's your core brand. And that is what you want for your ideal self to be. I actually haven't branded my life using 3 words. So I think I'm going to actually do that right now. What are the 3 words that I would want for my ideal self, my brand? Oh my God, this is actually really difficult. Okay, hold on. My ideal self. Okay, hold on. Okay. Timeless, carefree, soft. Timeless, carefree, soft. Those are my brand words for myself in my life. See, we're doing it together. Another thing we have to do together is declutter, because in moving to my house, I learned very quickly that I have a lot of shit that I do not need, and a lot of things that I am holding on to that I no longer want. But for some reason my psyche doesn't allow me to throw it out. It's giving a little hoarder, and I don't like that. I really don't like that, because I'm realizing that clutter and just having things kind of just all over the place or just chaotic, those are just delayed decisions. Although moving like 3 times in the past year and a half, it's very easy to just pack everything up and say, I'm just going to declutter later, or I'm going to declutter when I'm settled. No, it takes a lot longer than that. So that's something that I definitely, myself, I have to do. And when we talk about a rebrand, we need to declutter, because decluttering clears the space. It just gives a visual representation of clear and clean and tidy. And so I think that speaks to us mentally. It's almost like when you clean out your desk. and you can have like a fresh start and you feel really energized and you feel really good about it. That's what a declutter is going to do. I kind of do like the Marie Kondo method. If I haven't used it in a year, I'm going to either donate it or throw it in the garbage. I only throw things in the garbage if they're kind of like old or ruined, or you know what I'm saying? Like I try not to throw things in the garbage. I always try to put it in a box and like donate it where I see like those donation bins, or like drop it off at Goodwill, and I got some good stuff in there. So that's something that I definitely have to do. Problem is I need to take like a week off to do it. And then, one of the things I really love about decluttering is you start to look at, like, let's say my closet, right? I think it's really just my clothes and like my material items for decluttering. I think that's the only thing. Well, you can declutter a lot of non-tangible items, but as far as tangible items and material things, I find when I declutter, I'm kind of looking at a time capsule of my life. And it's funny because that whole thing where it's like if I haven't used it in a year, donate it or toss it. It's kind of crazy because when you look at older pieces that you haven't really looked at, or shoes that you haven't worn, it's almost like it's a piece of you, or like a small anchor that's tied to an older part of yourself. And sometimes it brings nostalgia, and then sometimes it kind of gives us that bitter feeling. And I think that even if you have used it within the year, but if that item kind of just gives you that achy feeling, toss it. I wouldn't even donate it. If it's giving you bad energy when you look at it, probably going to give someone else bad energy too. Just throw it in the garbage. And so I find that I do that a lot when I'm looking at my closet, and I'm just like, yeah, no, this is from a part of me that I don't ever want to think about again, because a lot of pieces hold memory. Smell holds memory, hair holds memory, clothes. So it's just like when you look at these pieces, and if you're like, okay, this is from a time in my life that I'm really not proud of, or I really wasn't happy, remove it from your life. Because they are like little anchors to our old life. And sometimes we want to cut those ties. I'm not saying to remove your old self completely. I think that they always need a space within you. But as far as all the ickiness and old feelings that we want to kind of get rid of, letting them go creates a space emotionally, mentally, and it really allows us to create room for who we're becoming, because after we remove all the older parts that no longer serve us, that we really kind of want to remove completely, it allows for our new self to really grow and thrive within this safe space that we have within ourselves. After decluttering and refreshing our space, I love, I love a makeover. I chopped all my hair off. That's my go-to. My go-to is chopping off my hair. Sometimes refreshing your look is the fastest way to shift your internal state so that you can change your external one. I actually just saw a reel. Oh my God, it was the absolute best reel. And it's because, a lot of people attach a negative stigma to a woman wanting to look better. This was a video of a before and after, and this person was like a color theorist, and they specialized in makeovers using color theory. And so the image was of a woman who she had darker hair. Her hair was kind of pulled back, and her hair was kind of thin. She had no makeup on, and she looked washed out. And that's not an insult. It's just she looked very washed out. She had an entire makeover, and this woman went to this color that she was a client of this color theory, hairstylist, makeover, whatever person, kind of like an image rebranding. That's kind of what this woman is. And so she showed the after picture, and the woman looked exactly the same physically. Her facial structure is the same, her skin tone is the same, but she had this stunning glow about her, and she didn't have darker hair anymore. She had a really beautiful coppery orange color, and that looks so pretty on some people. Oh my God. It looked gorgeous on her. It was almost like the red hair brought out this brightness to her face. And then she wore this gorgeous rosy makeup, and it was literally nothing. It was like no makeup. She had on like a rosy tint with like a cheek stain and mascara. I could still see her freckles. I could still see the texture of her skin. Like, it was the bare minimum amount of makeup that you could wear. She got bangs. I was like, she looked gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And after that rebranding, or after that makeover that she had, she felt like a completely different person. And so there's a lot of happiness that is tied to how you look. If you look good, you feel good. And a lot of people attach a negative stigma to it's like, it's not all about looks, that's so superficial to say. And it's like, girl, you need to sit the fuck down because evidently you are not the target audience. And that's okay. You don't have to be. But when there are women that really don't know what to do with their look, when there are women that are not confident in their look or how they feel, they don't have a glow about them. But just changing her hair color, a haircut, and putting on pink makeup, it doesn't take very much. For me, when I pour into myself that way and I do my makeup or I straighten my hair or I do a bomb skincare routine and I look like a glistening glazed donut and I have my lashes done and I got some lip gloss on with no makeup on, I feel amazing. Sometimes that's all it takes for women. Shit, there is nothing wrong with wanting to look good. There's nothing wrong with feeling good after you put the effort into looking good. When did that become like a bad thing to care about your appearance or to want to put makeup on or to want to learn how to do your own makeup or to do your own hair? When did that become a bad thing? And when did we start shitting on women that wanted to do that for themselves? Some of you need to really sit down. Some of you really need to sit down. Some of you really make me upset. Like there's just one person. Actually, this is so, oh my God, this is so funny. It's such a funny story. It's really quick. There's a person who there's a person on social media who loves, now listen, I am a full coverage, full face beat woman. I have tried the no makeup look. It looks like shit on me. It could be because I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. But I'm a full coverage queen. I don't care. I do the contour. I do all the things. You should see my makeup in real life. My makeup right now looks crazy because I'm on camera. There's a person who posts on social media talking shit about women that do the full contour and highlight and the brows and the lashes and the makeup that I do on myself. That takes me 15 minutes. And then, now mind you, on social media, dragging the glam mommies. Like this woman it's like her favorite sport. It's like, I'm naturally pretty. I don't need to do that bullshit. And then was in my DMs asking me to teach them how to do their makeup. You know who you are. I didn't teach them because I was like, girl, no. It's kind of like a reel that I saw where a nail technician stitched a video of this nurse who basically was like shitting on beauty providers, talking about that's not a real job. Like, I actually save lives. And that nurse booked a nail appointment with the nail technician. Oh, so you want to talk shit, but you still want your nails done. Oh, okay. Be so fucking real. Like, stop, baby girl. You are not better than me because you don't do a full glam. Stop. We can all coexist, mama. We can all coexist. Like, please, let's not do that. I love a good makeover. You ever put makeup on a woman that never had makeup on before? Yeah, watch her whole energy shift. And so sometimes for us, so now I'm talking to us. Sometimes that refresh, and it could be something as simple as changing the tone of your makeup. Maybe you're a bronze girly and instead you're like, you know what? I want to do a little bit more of the berry look. Even switching up a color or a product, or changing the way you style your hair, or changing the way you do your lip liner. Like those tiny, tiny, tiny little changes, it's a refresh and it makes us feel so good because it brings us so much joy to take the time to pour into ourselves and our outward appearance. It's truly a reflection of how we feel on the inside. I feel good on the inside. I want to look good on the outside to only amplify that inner goodness that I'm feeling about myself. And then I can kind of tackle the world around me and I can tackle my environment. We can also change up our style. We can also refine our style. Sometimes we don't know our style. I kind of feel like I don't know mine to a certain degree, but even if we don't know what our ideal style is, that's a part of the rebrand. That's a part of this rediscovery that we're doing together for ourselves. And so we can go on Pinterest and we could just look up styles that we're really, really loving. And even if you can't name a style, you can take a photo of yourself that you love where you loved your outfit, you loved your hair, you loved your makeup, and that photo represents everything that you love about yourself, everything that you want to be. It is like you are your own blueprint. And so you take that photo and you upload it to Pinterest. It will use that photo to give you recommendations of similar styles and similar aesthetics based on that image. And then you can kind of go down a rabbit hole of this whole new style icon refresh that we're doing for ourselves. And throughout this entire process, it's not so much about the aesthetic, it's about how we feel on the inside. Remember one thing, branding is not about the business. Branding is how you feel about the business. And there are companies and brands that we really, really love. Why? Because that brand makes us feel something that then grows our loyalty to keep shopping with them. That's branding. And so what we're doing is we are applying those same branding principles and brand identity principles to our own life. So we're going to focus on the feeling that we want to embody: confidence, softness, boldness, and let our style follow that. And in focusing on the feeling, in focusing on that hopeful bubble in our belly that we're feeling as we're doing all of this, we also need to curate our mind. We need to master our mind. It's a lot easier said than done. Your mindset is the silent architect of your reality and your world around you that you control. So this could be done in a multitude of ways with a lot of really small changes and small little things that we can do throughout our day that make us mentally stronger. So one thing that I really love, and I first discovered it watching Being Mary Jane on BET with Gabrielle Union, is the affirmations that she would post on her little post-it notes, and she would post them all around her house. And so everywhere she went, she saw really powerful affirmations, and it made her mentally stronger of her knowing herself and giving herself that confidence throughout her day. And sometimes if you put a post-it note someplace and you forgot you posted it there, maybe like the inside of your medicine cabinet, and you'll open it and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot I put that there. Or in a drawer you really don't go to, and you have really powerful words of affirmation, you kind of open it and it gives you this not only moments of joy and happiness, but it also gives you that reassurance that you are strong, of reassurance that we need sometimes to re-solidify that strength and fortress around our own mind. And what I love about these affirmations, it almost kickstarts our brain going into a reframe. And reframing the mind is very, very difficult. And it does take time, and it does take actual intention when you're reframing your mind. Like, you have to cognitively say, I'm going to think about this situation in this way rather than the way that I would think about it before. There's a book that I love so much, and it's called Things That Mentally Strong People Don't Do by Amy Morin. It is a fantastic book, and it can really, really help shape your reframe, because sometimes we know exactly what we want to feel. We know exactly what we need to do, but we don't really have the words, or we don't have the direction to articulate what that next step is. That book does it for you. Instead of saying, like, when something goes wrong, you can say, how does this work for me? It's almost like the burnt toast theory. The person is getting ready for work, and, they put their toast in the toaster for breakfast and they burnt their toast. So now they had to take an extra 5 minutes to grab new pieces of bread, re-put their toast in the toaster, put some butter on it and eat it for work. But they avoided a car accident. So when you reframe your mind, now when I go in the car, or when I think about things that are not really going my way, or when I think about, like, what the fuck? Why am I having all these blockages today? I'll kind of say, you know what? There's a reason for this. So let me take a beat and let me calm down, because tomorrow hindsight will be 2020, and I will see everything with a clearer image, and then I'll get it. So instead of asking yourself when something goes wrong, how can this work for me, instead of why is this happening to me? Your plans get canceled last minute. Instead of feeling rejected, you can say, okay, great. Now I have this extra time that I was going to go out and do something, but you know what? This is great unexpected time for me to rest, or it's great time for me to work on a passion project. So it's all about reframing the mind. Like Keke Palmer said, if she does not get the role for a movie, She doesn't say, oh, damn, I didn't get it. She says, now your movie just won't be as good because I'm not in it. So when we reframe our mind, it allows us to reinforce the strength that we actually have in knowing our own mind, in the reframe or in our affirmations, and really just to make sure that mentally we are solid. So a reframe is really, really wonderful in how we change our mindset in perspective and how we look at situations and how we can maybe find the silver lining to a lot of things. And another way to master our mind and to really solidify that strength that we have around our mind is to curate the consumption of things that you are absorbing in your life. I have my episode on taking a digital detox and how important it is for that. You know, only consuming things and consuming contents that pour into you, podcasts, shows, movies, books, music that speak life into you rather than deplete you. It's really refining the algorithm of not only your online world, but also your offline world and the world around you and your environment, your work, your kids, just curating a life that brings you nothing but peace and joy and regulates our nervous system rather than putting it into shock. Because there's this narrative of women of this hustle culture and waking up at 5 a.m. and going to the gym and drinking a fucking disgusting green juice and taking a cold plunge and, you're working for 12 hours a day and it's like work. And it's like, okay, stop. That's a lot. Don't get me wrong. Some women are like that. Period. Love that for you. There's just no way in the world. Like, I love a soft morning. I cannot deal with a complete shock to my nervous system, like to just get up and hustle. And it's like that guy that woke up and he has all those timestamps in his videos and he's like, 4:02, he's doing a cold plunge, 4:05, he's at the gym for 6 hours. And it's just like, okay, for some people that regulates their nervous system, for me, I would actually spiral the fuck out and be absolutely miserable. And if that's you, then welcome home, honey, because the goal is to begin our day in a way that tells your body that you are safe, you are steady, and we are not rushing. Soft. There's this frantic chaos and hustle culture that's attached to getting up ridiculously early and you're on the phone and answering emails and it's almost just like this go, 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 go. And it's like, no, we can do all those things without crashing the fuck out and being stressed out. We can do all those things. So it's not so much of what you're doing, it's more of how you're doing those things. So you can wake up and spend 5 minutes doing gentle breathing work rather than 6 hours of meditation. Or you don't have to meditate and journal and pray. You can just wake up and just look outside and go, I love my life, and then go on about your day. You can do small things, light your favorite candle or some incense while you're making your coffee. Making my coffee in the morning is a part of me romanticizing my mornings, part of me romanticizing my life. That is a nervous system friendly ritual that I have that catapults my entire day. Also, my mug. That's something that I love. Like, my mug has to be perfect. Where I drink my coffee at, let me tell you something. Drinking my coffee is such a sacred ritual for me, and it really articulates how my day is going to go, especially that first sip, especially if I make my coffee very perfect. That's something for me that is a non-negotiable. My coffee in a beautiful mug, perfectly made, nice and hot, and then midday, a strawberry matcha. That's mine. And I have so many tiny little nervous system friendly rituals that I do throughout my day. And so these rituals and this, refresh and makeover, and it's all meant to feel soft. It's not meant to feel like a jarring change. And these things don't happen overnight. These changes don't happen in a week. Things like this take months. Things like this take years even to get to be to where we want to be. And you don't have to do everything in one day. And because sometimes when you try to do too much in one day, it is a total shock to the body, shock to the brain, and it almost becomes something that is meant to be soft and enjoyable and rediscovering and redefining turns into a very overstimulating, very whiplash moment that kind of sends us backward a little bit and completely negates the entire purpose of even wanting to do something like this. This is not to do anything for you other than make you feel good, make you feel better, make you feel happier, brighter. It's to reclaim that joy of our life and to live it purposefully in the way that you see fit for yourself. That's what this whole rebrand is for. It's to make you feel good. You feel good. This shit is not for anybody else. It's not for your family. It's not for your man. It's not for shit. It's not even for your kids. It is for you and everything that you want to be and everything you want to become, everything you want for yourself. Even if you do one of these things, even if you do the visualization, even if you do scripting, even if you just wake up and light the fucking candle in the morning while you make your coffee, and that's the one thing that you change of your whole day and it just makes you feel better. You don't have to do any of these things. You could do one thing. You could do none of these things. You could just listen to the podcast and it make you feel good. It's all about feeling good. And it's not about tearing yourself down and starting from scratch. It is taking all the things in your life that work and amplifying them, taking all the wonderful parts of yourself that you really, really love and enjoy and refining them, bettering them, making those parts of you happier. And for the things that you have to work on and the things that need improvement, take a little time. Take 5 minutes. You can do anything for 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes and do that work. Think about why it no longer serves you. Think about how you can better that situation in your life and say, how can I take this area of improvement and turn it into a strength? How can I take this area of improvement and remove it from my life because I tried and it no longer serves me? And so that's what this rebrand is about. It's about editing. It's about refining your environment and refining your inner joy to make you feel really, really good. So like I said, you don't have to do all these things at once and it's not going to happen overnight. Swap one habit one day and then maybe next week you can add it again. It takes 21 days to break a bad habit. It takes 21 days to add a new habit into your routine and turn it into a behavior. Remember to give yourself grace because this is not a one size fits all. Some things are going to work for some people. Some things are going to work for others. Maybe take one or two things I said, apply them, see if they work for you. And if they don't, then you go to the next thing. And it's okay because this rediscovery, this rebrand is all about you. And there is no time limit. There's no deadline and there's absolutely no rush. Because the softest approach is always going to be the one that's most sustainable for our lives. And that is all for today's episode. If you cannot get enough of me the same way I cannot get enough of you, please do me a favor. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, all the things, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And be sure to share this with another woman in your life that you feel is also too much. And if there are any burning questions, any piping hot tea, or any advice that you're just looking for from your very blunt bestie over here, do me a favor and go to www.ngl.links/Latinaly podcast, where I answer all of your anonymous submissions very candidly and filled with love on my segment, Signed Kaya. I am Kaya Burgos. This is the Latinaly podcast, where we are untamed, uncensored, and always unapologetic. And I'll see you next week.